Russia dominates the global nuclear power trade. It leads the world in nuclear exports and is building reactors or providing services in more than 50 countries.
But the rise of Russia's nuclear empire is raising eyebrows in the West because it isn't just about electricity, it's about power.
Nuclear energy helps Russia expand its influence. It's building a network of dependence across the world.
So how did Russia come to dominate the global nuclear power trade? And how is that helping it expand its interests?
The Soviet Union opened its first overseas nuclear power plant in East Germany in 1966. And soon they were building reactors across Eastern Europe. But the Chernobyl disaster disrupted the industry, and then the Soviet Union collapsed, leaving countries like Cuba with unfinished reactors. By the 2000s, Russia was back to building new projects, and in 2007, they formed Rosatom. It absorbed the powers of the Atomic Energy Agency and a vast array of enterprises. Today, Rosatom and its subsidiaries cover uranium mining, enrichment, reactor construction, plant operations, training, and waste disposal. Almost every aspect of nuclear energy.
So, if you want to establish a nuclear power industry, Rosatom is a one-stop shop, and that's made it incredibly popular.
Russia is building reactors in China, India, Egypt, Bangladesh, Turkey, Belarus, Iran, Hungary, and Kazakhstan. It's also eyeing Asia, where the vast majority of new reactors are being built. It's just agreed to help Vietnam revive its nuclear ambitions, and it's pitching projects to Indonesia. And while China is adding more nuclear power to its grid than any country in the world, Russia is helping with several key projects. But this is Russia's latest development, the Rupor nuclear power plant. It's the first nuclear facility in Bangladesh, so Russian scientists are training local workers. And Russian loans are covering 90% of its $13 billion price tag.
These things are really extensive commitments. Russia will provide loans, plans for the reactors, and usually some sort of support for the construction materials for the reactor, maintenance services and so forth. This usually means that that country is going to be reliant on Russia for a number of years and sometimes even decades.
Russia's willingness to bankroll these projects with large, low-interest loans can be very attractive, but that comes at a cost.
Nuclear projects can take decades to develop, and new reactors can last up to 80 years. That can tie countries together for generations.
It's not unique to Russia to use this both to get economic advantage and build up its influence abroad. The Americans have done this, the Europeans have done this, but it does mean that these states will have a very, very close relationship with Russia for some time to come.
That was a problem for Ukraine, where Soviet-era power plants could not function without Russian fuel. Complex reactor conversion projects helped solve this problem, but it can be tough to untangle deep economic relationships.
Rosatom is one of the largest and most internationally active nuclear exporters, and it's become a really important tool for Russia in developing various avenues for diplomatic advantage and soft power diplomacy.
A 2018 deal to build 4 plants in China was signed amid talks of deeper strategic cooperation. And Bangladesh secured a $1 billion arms deal when it opened its doors to Russia.
And for Putin, nowadays it's also an opportunity to show that Russia is not isolated.
After the invasion of Ukraine, Western nations hit Russia with heavy sanctions. But the nuclear power trade did not stop.
Of course it was also affected, but somehow it was cushioned. The West doesn't have that many alternatives, especially when it comes to the provision of enriched uranium.
Countries like the United States are trying to get off Russian fuel, and the UK has sanctioned Rosatom subsidiaries that were promoting nuclear exports. Finland even tore up its deal with Russia, but Hungary is forging ahead with its plan for a new Russian reactor.
The more Russia has a really vast, really extensive list of countries that are reliant on Russia for their own domestic economies and their own energy systems, the more likely it is that those sanctions on Russia start to peel off a little bit, get watered down, and put less pressure on Moscow.
Nuclear power plants require huge long-term investments, so state-backed enterprises usually have a competitive advantage. But in the West, it's becoming harder to find that support.
After all, nuclear is just too expensive for Western markets. And now we live in a time in which renewables have become cheaper, much faster to implement.
But the United States is trying to reinvigorate its nuclear industry. President Donald Trump wants 10 new reactors to be under construction by 2030. But in Europe, some projects have been plagued by delays and budget blowouts. This is Finland's first nuclear plant in more than 4 decades. It opened 12 years late and cost 4 times the original estimate.
Russian projects are by no means immune from cost blowouts or delays, and that's far from the only concern.
In Bangladesh, there were allegations that $5 billion US had been embezzled in a scheme linked to the former president's family. These claims were branded as politically motivated and rejected by Rosatom. Nuclear power will be part of the global energy system for decades.
Russian investment, technology and expertise is going to be a key part of that future. And while it will also help Russia build its influence, that's hardly a new strategy.